Zain Retherford, welcome back to the podcast. World champ. How's it feel, man?
Oh, great. Yeah, it was a fun year for sure.
Yeah, it's like I was thinking about I listened to our podcast this morning from a few years back, and I think, when was your first world championship appearance? What year was that?
2017.
2017. It's like, man, that's, you think back to the era of when we were growing up. I don't feel like guys were on the senior circuit that long. And here it's 2023, and now you're a world champ. It's just amazing to see. Talk to us about your trip over. Want to get behind the scenes a little bit. Your trip over to the Worlds. What was the acclimation camp like over in Germany?
Yeah, acclimation camp was pretty standard. Like we've been over there since 2017. So I think that was my third or fourth time there. And it's very similar to being at the US in the US. I think Germany always reminds me of Pennsylvania in some ways, like the farmland. And so it does feel like being at home. And then we're on an Air Force base. So,
Got
and
it.
it's got like a mall and everything. And so everything's in English and people are speaking English. So it just feels like you're still in the States, but you're at a different time zone, which is nice.
So you guys always go to that spot if like the Worlds are in Europe?
For the most part, yeah, even the Worlds was in Kazakhstan one year and we still kind of went there as like a stepping stone.
Yeah. Now, just saying this though, it's like, man, thinking back to like 2017 when we beat Russia for the first time, and then now it's like we're the big dogs. It's just crazy how much it's transitioned in such a short time.
Yeah, it's grown a lot and it's fun to be able to like not only compete with those guys, but like kind of the expectation is we should beat those guys. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah. And so when you actually get to the World Championships, how many days there early are you before like weigh-ins and that kind of stuff starts?
Yeah, I was the first 2 days of competition, so we were there kind of quick, which I like. I like just like hitting the ground going, and then had a few days to like enjoy and watch wrestling and kind of enjoy Serbia. But yeah, we were only there for like I want to say maybe 2 days before I took the mat, and I was in the first group with David and Vito. I think Mason Paris was also there in that group, so good first day.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, you'd rather be there early, get it done, enjoy some food, watch the other guys.
Right.
So, man, just the guys you just mentioned there too. It's like all those guys had such incredible tournaments. Like Vito coming in, man. I don't know if you get to watch much of the NCAA season. Are you still a fan of college wrestling, or do you just focus on your own thing?
For sure a fan of college wrestling. I've kind of fallen out of touch with like what's going on in high school, but uh college for sure.
I mean, and you watch the season Vito had. I mean, it's like you had to be excited to see what he was going to do at the world level.
For sure. Yeah, he had a great year and yeah, I was excited to see how he stacked up against some of these guys like some the Russian, for example. That was
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, and like knowing the lineage with his pops and everything, and next year we'll have RBY potentially from Mexico. So anyway though, so that's the group you're going off against. And I was just looking through the results this morning. Your first match was the tightest before the finals. Had you wrestled that guy before?
No, actually I this is a good example of like why you shouldn't look ahead. I so my the guy I wrestled first round had a match against the guy that I wrestled last year first round from Germany. And I thought maybe the German would win because I never heard of the other guy. And so the other guy won and I was like, okay, let's do it. And he came out pretty feisty. He like popped me in the face right away. And I was like, all right, so this is how this match is gonna go. Let's do it.
And before that was the last time you wrestled Final X, or did you do a tournament in between?
Yeah, last time I wrestled was Final X.
Which that's a couple months, and then it's at the friendly confines of the US, and then you get over there and right away, boom, it's like welcome back to international wrestling.
Yeah, it's like let's do it. But we had a summer full of like camps where we wrestled with other guys from across the US. So kind
Yeah.
of got some fields and I've competed a lot internationally, so I felt like let's just roll right into Worlds.
And how bad is the pull for you getting into that tournament?
The pull.
Cut? Yeah.
Oh, the cut. It's not really that bad at 70. It's like right where I want to be. It's like 6 to 8 pounds, kind of maximum. And
Yeah.
that's the range I was at in college. That's where I feel my best when I'm kind of just living there, eating clean, weighing that amount, and then cutting it out.
Yeah. That's a nice amount. And it's like, so you go right into that. And you mentioned the training camps. So what are the there's the Team USA training camps, and are you guys also doing mini camps with Penn State on your own, or is that just part of like your daily workouts?
Yeah, it's just mostly part of our daily workouts. We're in state college most of the year, and then when we do got to go out to the training center, those are kind of, just like maybe 3 or 4 times a year we're doing that. But for the most part, it's just training as normal in state college.
And what's the daily cadence like if we're like a day in the life as a Nittany Lion wrestler, like the middle of July? Like what's that look like for you guys?
Yeah, middle of July it really depends. Some guys were competing. I know Nick Lee and Kyle Snyder went overseas and competed in a ranking series at that time. So they were just getting ready for that after Final X. The rest of us were kind of just, getting ready to go for the next cycle. We usually train for like something like the World Championships is like you want to make sure you're recovered and ready to hit like a 6 week cycle intently. So it's kind of the thought.
And when you're in that 6 week cycle, is it you guys are going multiple times a day or just one? And are you doing anything on your own?
Yeah, multiple times a day. Sometimes we'll do like circuit training in the morning and then come in and drill or get our live in. A couple of days off a week.
Yeah.
Recovery is so important. And then on Fridays, normally we do matches. So we'll like wear a singlet, get a center of a mat, get a full circle, kind of train. Helps you feel like a little bit more anxiety, a little bit more nerves than just like doing a 10-minute go or something. So yeah, that's what we do on Fridays.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's like Thursday night before you got to get a little bit of excitement for that, you know.
I'm doing it every week. It's like you get those reps in.
And are you one of these guys who have started working with Coach Cael out in California, some of those crazy cross training stuff that David does?
I never have done the cross training stuff. I follow Coach Cal's like supplements and stuff and kind
Mm-hmm.
of some other stuff that he recommends to do. But I've never done the workouts. I would like to sometime, but it's been working well. Like the training that we do, we still do some circuit training and some lifting and just kind of followed the lead of our strength coach. I've trusted our strength coach. He's helped me get strong all through college. And so we have a good relationship and he's been keeping me strong for the senior level.
Dude, those workouts when those guys are on the bike out in the garage, they look just absolutely brutal.
Yeah, yeah, it does look brutal for sure. That's a good word for it.
Or like if they're on all fours doing the bike pedaling hand, like God, yeah, that just looks I can't even imagine. And you mentioned strength training. I was listening to our first podcast this morning, and totally forgot that when you were in middle school, you were doing like the 1,000 push-ups 3 times a week kind of thing. Do you still ever bring that back, or is that long in the past?
It was something I started back in COVID when we were just like not able to get on the mats at all. And I got bored, so I was running, I was doing stuff like that. And but no, since then I haven't really had a need to. I kind of been doing more of what we normally do, circuit training,
Yeah.
weightlifting like normal.
Yeah, no, it's it's cool just to hear little things you were doing like that. But so back to the worlds, you get through the first round, and then you win your next, you really kind of start to take control and start to separate yourself from the field. When you get to the finals, how many times have you wrestled Baby Yazdani at this point?
Zero.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
I
Yeah, we've
thought who'd you wrestle last year in the finals?
I wrestled Japan last year. And
Okay.
so last year was unique with Yazdani. He had Israel first round. And
Yeah.
as I'm sure you're aware, they don't wrestle each other. So he just defaulted out of the tournament. So, and he was on the other side. He would have had Japan maybe at some point. But yeah, that Japanese wrestler, he told us last year at the award stand that he was going Greco this year. So he's been doing that. I think he's trying to prepare for the Olympics to do Greco, I think is his goal. Um, would have liked to wrestle him again also, but
Had you wrestled
Yazdani
him
was fun.
before last year, or that was the first
No,
time?
first time. First time.
God, and he's like just the confidence to switch up and go Greco like that. Has he already won the Olympics in freestyle, or
No, I don't know. He kind of came out of nowhere, I think, last year. But yeah, I'm not sure where the Greco thought lies, but good at both styles.
maybe it's the weight class? Because I think Greco has different weights. Like that may be it.
67. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so yeah, okay, so you never had wrestled Yasani. I thought you had. So going into it, I mean, at this level, I'm sure you're totally focused on yourself, but Are you doing any kind of like film review before the finals or even before the tournament?
Not too much. I like to just like kind of focus on what I do. And like I said earlier in the tournament, you can't predict who you're going to wrestle next. Like it was like I saw my side of the bracket. I saw Ukraine had won the ranking series, one of the ranking series. So I thought I might wrestle him in like the quarters. He ended up not making it. So I wrestled Belarus. Never heard of him. And then Russia was also on my side. I might have wrestled him maybe in the semis, and Russia ended up losing. And then I wrestled a guy that I wrestled last year. So it's just like you can't predict anything, and you just got to take it one match at a time. So I think for me, film review feels like I'm trying to look too far ahead.
Right. And like, watching from afar, like 4 a.m., you don't really have a good concept of the dates and times. But once you won your semis, is it a full day until the finals, or is like semis finals same day?
So finals is the next day. So we
Okay.
wrestle through the finals, get your weight down, make weight again the second morning, and then you kind of got all day to just think about the finals and get ready for that.
And are you someone who's like, you're trying to keep your mind clear of it, or are you trying to like really stay focused on it all day? Like, what's that look like? Your mental headspace?
It's really hard. You gotta just I try to get my mind off of it, but it's like, in the back of your mind all day that you're looking forward to it so much. And so it's that battle all day.
Yeah. And do you get a workout in like in the morning to kind of get yourself blown out and then just keep your feet up?
Yeah, I find that my body absorbs the food that I put into it after weigh-ins better if I get a little bit of some kind of workout in before weigh-ins. So I'll just do that. Nothing crazy, maybe like a pound of total work that I'm
Yeah.
trying to get off. But yeah,
I like how you gauge it in the amount of weight you lose in it.
yeah, you could tell like a 1 pound workout. Okay, that's not that bad, but you're looking at a 5 pound workout in the morning, then that's tough.
You ever had to do that?
When I was younger, you learn your lesson, but not since like high school. Yeah.
Man, at least it was in high school, not even college. I think it was so Bo recently went on the Jocko podcast, just amazing, really fantastic. And then he told a funny story about they got to like a dual meet. It might have even been Iowa, and he like was unexpectedly like 6-7 over, and he didn't tell anyone. Have you listened to
I
that show, that podcast?
I I think I remember after the fact him saying like how much over he was. Like I remember that dual meet.
Yeah, that's funny.
But he wrestled well, so that's all that matters, I guess.
Totally got it done. Do you go over to his fight gym very often?
Often because I just don't train any of that stuff. So but I've been through there. It's a cool facility. It's brand new.
Dude, you look at like just the energy and the atmosphere going on at Penn State. You got the Nittany Land Wrestling Club, all with Date coming in, and I'm sure you guys have some foreigners coming in, and then at the same time you have this UFC metropolis just across town. It's like it's crazy. And then is M2 right in that area as well?
It's in the same parking lot actually as the American Top Team. So like, yeah, it's pretty
Dang,
funny.
that's awesome. Wow. So getting back to the world, so you weigh in, you get a workout in, you're hanging out, and what's the post weigh in meal for you at this level?
So Coach Cal actually has us drinking like a recovery shake that has all these good things in it, berries and stuff like that. But he actually recently made a powder form of it. I think he's selling it on his website for like, if you're in a pinch and you can't go through the effort of like making. Not many people have a blender with them at weigh-ins, so we're spoiled. But yeah, I think he made that. I want to start trying that too. But it's got all good things in it. It's quick too, like a smoothie. Your body doesn't have to break down a whole bunch of stuff. So I'll start with that, get electrolytes in. If I have more time, like say I have a bye, I had a bye the first round, so I was able to get in a little bit more food, but still not eating like McDonald's breakfast sandwiches or anything. Yeah.
Dude, Coach Cal has this. I want to get that powder, and he also has this service where you can send in like a sample of blood through like a testing lab, and he'll analyze your blood, like even a normal person, like, and yeah, I don't know if I should do it because I'm not even getting the 5 workouts in a week, but it's just like, man, this guy is so scientific, so next level. It's just it's fascinating the kind of influence he's been having on the wrestling world.
Yeah, it is amazing, and I'm grateful for it. I've learned a lot from just I mean, I did one of those blood tests with Coach Cael a while ago and just learned that uh, my vitamin D at the time was the at the level of like a 90-year-old woman, and I thought I was good, and like I eat pretty solid. I thought I was good, but it's just amazing like the things he can uncover and then like go and correct, and so yeah, it makes you feel and perform a lot better.
So outside of the vitamin level, did he like notice anything in like your diet? He's like, hey, you're eating too much of this or that, or like, what were some of the other things you got out of that?
Yeah, and like if he uncovers something like that, then he might have some, okay, add this into your diet, or kind of just ask you some questions of, why that could be the case.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, having someone like that in your corner, you're feeling good about yourself, and you know, going into the day, it just probably adds to your how you're feeling. What's your like at this point you probably have a good routine. Like what's your warm-up routine when we're like 30 minutes out, 40 minutes out from the match, and what are you starting to feel and think?
Yeah, I mean, I get that workout in before weigh-in, so that's like 2 hours in advance. I get my system going so that 30 minutes before I don't need to do like a full warm up. It's just like get the heart rate up, spike it, and then kind of like just calm down. And I pace back and forth a lot, something I've done since I was a kid. So just timing all that stuff the right way, and uh, yeah, that's how I get prepared.
And do you have a little mantra you say to yourself, or is it you're kind of empty mind going into it?
Empty mind until I get kind of like in the tunnel, and then I'm just thinking, I like to remind myself of little things. One thing that one of my coaches, Jimmy Kennedy, reminded me of last year before Worlds that I've just kind of carried forward is just win the next score. And I really like that. I think in years past, I would maybe try to hold on to a lead or shut down. And these foreigners, they're tricky sometimes, and they are able to they used to slick me in certain moments. So like towards the end of a match. So I've just focused on win the next score. If I have a lead, win that next score. If I'm down by 4, win that next score. That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, the freestyle sprints at the end are absolutely insane. Like there's no safe lead in a freestyle match.
No safe lead, and you just gotta. It's more reason to stay on the attack and have good defense also.
What's it been like having Jimmy in the room past couple of years? I mean, you're talking Illinois legend. He's
He
we hold
is.
him in high regard out here.
He's awesome. He's right around my weight class and just has a lot of good insight. He competed on the freestyle circuit for a while, and just like picking his brain. He helped me get ready for multiple events the past few years, and yeah, just grateful to have him around
Is he still wrestling with the guys?
all the time. Yeah, he gets a
Wow.
lot of work in. He's a stud.
God, dude. So I'm 34. He must be 36, 35. Like that's hard on the body. That's tough.
It is.
And you got
Yeah.
some of these young guys you guys got coming at Penn State. It's like, oh my Lord, they're trying to come in and prove a point every day.
And he'll wrestle anybody. So, I mean, yeah.
Man, were there any moments of that match against Iran in the finals that stick out to you now? Like you're thinking back to like, hey, this was a crucial like kind of point where it could have gone either way, or I remember being in on this single and you got to finish. Like any moments stick out now that we're a few weeks removed from it?
I think just my patience with him. I think in years past, like I got in on his leg before anyone had scored beginning of the match, and I settled for a push out. But in my mind at the time, it wasn't a settle. I was just like, let's chip away at this guy slowly. Let's chip away at him. And I think there was a point where I just kept doing that. I might have got another push out later in the match, and that was like he kind of took a deep breath when we got back to the center. And I'm like, whatever I'm doing, chipping away is the right move. I'm just going to stay on the attack, and I don't need to go and get a crazy score or go wild or anything, but just staying on them.
Yeah, it's like you're like the maturity of wrestling at freestyle at that senior level. It's like it's just crazy how much a couple world championships will do to a guy and really change your style for the better. I mean, not that you needed to change your style, but like you said, those last 30 seconds, 40 seconds in America, I feel like we're all about shooting, going, and not always is that the best tactic in those situations.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have tricks, and I had a big enough lead that I didn't feel like I needed to shoot really. And so and if I had shot, he might have tipped me over a few times. Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt like that was the move.
Well, and plus with Iran, I feel like it's like Penn State, Iowa. Like that's, Russia's not back to where they need to be or where we're expecting them. So they're definitely there, but it's definitely US and Iran. And can you feel the energy of the Iranian fans when you're wrestling an Iranian guy?
Sure, not to the level I'm sure that David Taylor feels when he's wrestling Yazdani, but it's they're passionate. They love good wrestling, so it's always fun.
I saw a tweet, must have been last year, 2 years ago. It's like someone posted that whenever Yazdani's on the mat, it sounds like Times Square traffic jam. Like people are buzzing horns, they're ringing bells. Like it's awesome to see how much they love him. And you got to feel for Yazdani a little bit. David Taylor just, dude, he has his number now. It's amazing to see. But yeah, it's those Iranian fans, you love them and they're great for wrestling. So when you're done and you win, are you hanging out watching other matches, like coming to the tournament each day?
Yeah, a little bit. I was, coming by to see, had some teammates that had some cool matchups. But yeah, also and my family came out, all my family, my wife, my parents, my mother-in-law, my sisters, my brother-in-law. So it was cool to like have a few days also to like actually see Serbia and
Yeah.
not have to just rush out of there.
Did you bring the little one over?
Did. Yeah, he made it.
Wow.
He didn't have any teeth before the trip, and then during the trip he got all four of his teeth, so it was fun.
did,
Memorable.
did you have a chance to poke your head back in the door and watch Dake Sidikoff?
Yeah, that was
What,
wild.
what were your thoughts on that one?
I think Kyle probably learned a lot from that match, and I think he's going to be better for it. Yeah, just some flurries, really. It wasn't really anything crazy. I mean, there was a few. I think that one situation at the end of the match where it was like Sidcup was in and Kyle tipped him a little bit, but yeah, it was really like one or two situations. Really, I don't
Yeah.
nothing major, but it was a fun match. I know a lot of people were excited to watch that.
Oh my God, it was absolutely crazy. And the guy doing the Dake doc, who I've met a few times, he's always got some great footage. And there was a shot of like Dake and Sidikoff warming up like right next to each other. And so you see that and you're like, dude, this is going to be an insane match. And I had Brian Medlin on, who's the Illinois coach. He goes to Ossetia about once a year. He's like, dude, in Ossetia, Sidikoff is like Sajulayev almost. So like he's like that highly regarded, and obviously, right, he's never lost to an American. But to your point, there were a couple scrambles where he was in pretty deep on Dake, and like usually see Dake doing a chest wrap there. But I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, me too. I agree. I think you usually see Kyle win that position, and I think just maybe a few adjustments, and he can do that next time.
Yeah. Do you get to wrestle with Dake that often at practice?
Yeah, I wrestle with him some for sure. It's been fun. Like just picking his brain. He's got such a unique feel. Like you can't replicate that. And so, yeah, I love picking his brain. And he helped me learn how to better finish some of my leg attacks earlier this year. So that was huge.
Had you really wrestled him that much before he moved there?
No, I think maybe like once at the training center, but never before.
And you said his feel is like it's kind of hard to replicate. How would you describe it? Like what's he doing really, really well at his level?
I mean, obviously super hard to finish on. Like you get in on his leg, you gotta be in super clean. Otherwise, you're at risk of getting tipped. So, yeah, I think that's such a unique feel. Most guys you can shoot on and you can at least maybe at a minimum get a stalemate, but he goes on the attack when you get in on his leg. So being ready for that and yeah, he's just all around really good. He's flexible. He's strong. He's really shifty. He's got good technique. He's good on top. Like just a solid all around wrestler.
Yeah, he's man, so lucky to have him in the US, man. He's one of those guys where like at a youth tournament, I always think back to it's probably a bad example, but like you put your hand on a guy's head, the other guy puts their hand up. He never does that. Like he'll let a guy like palm him in the face like 5, 10 times, and he's just gonna stay in position. It's like, man, I really wanted to see him versus Cotty in the semis, that rematch, because that's one you watch that one, you're kind of like watching Steiner against was it Tadzunov. You almost like you don't really know what just happened, and was really hoping to see that rematch. But that, like you said, dude, the worlds were so deep this year. Things were happening every round, upsets.
Yeah, like to your point, things like that can happen any year. You never really, I don't know, some matchups sometimes or some years it just gets weird.
Yeah. Now that you're back in the US, Olympic trials are coming up. Have you had a chance to kind of take a few weeks off and rest up before you go into some training camps here coming up for the winter season?
Yeah, I definitely have, and that was good. I didn't really have any, knock on wood, any like lingering things, so it was good to just rest. We got down to Florida. My wife's family is from Florida, so uh, got down
Nice.
there, got some sunshine, got that vitamin D up, and yeah, all
Coach Cael will
good.
be happy. What's it been,
Yep.
man? I gotta ask, what's it been like being a father over the last year, man? Has that been a big change?
Big change. Yeah, it's definitely shifts your perspective, makes you a little like you come into practice or come at least the first 3 months where like you're not sleeping as much and you still got to come into practice and go hard. And that was a blessing because later on in the year when he was sleeping better, I was like, man, I had some like down training months where it was like this is hard. Come in and practice and have good energy, but yeah, I'm grateful for it, and he's been an awesome baby and super fun.
That's exciting, man. I wondered if it would like change your perspective on the wins and losses, but you guys have a pretty healthy perspective on that already at Penn State. Um, because I remember reading your quote last year on Instagram. It's like at this point you've already detached yourself from the results, the wins and losses, which that's a perspective we hear all the time out of Penn State. But I'm wondering if having a kid even added to that a little bit.
Yeah, that definitely added to that perspective. No longer is wrestling the number one in my life. I got much bigger things, and so it's cool. It shifts your perspective even more. I think last year, like you said, a few years ago, I detached myself from my performance and my worth tied to wrestling. But so I think that was a good first step. But especially with having kids, it's like how could you have anything else be more important than that?
And was there a match that you remember where it was kind of the turning point for you to have that shift in mindset? Was it a college match, an international match, or was it just something gradual over time?
I think the Olympic trials, truthfully, it was a blessing. I just kind of felt like I was in a blur state, like just like even my first round, I felt like my reactions were like a full second behind my body, and it's like an out of body experience, I guess, is what the whole tournament felt like. And so I had to really evaluate like why did I feel that? Obviously, that weight cut is a big thing, but it wasn't the whole thing. So I had to just be honest about that and kind of take that in and make some necessary changes. That's a hard lesson to learn at the time, but it was super needed for now. Feel so much more free just detaching my worth from wrestling and competing.
Did you know going into that trials that you weren't feeling, peak form mentally?
No, actually. And so that's like when it happens, you're like, wow, really caught off guard, kind of blindsided. So yeah, I look back at that event and I'm just like super grateful for it because it made me as painful as that was at the time, it made me change.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you need that to change. Coach Cael always says like if you can learn from other people's experiences, that's always better. So you don't got to experience those pains yourself. But for me, I had to experience that pain and learn and grow from it. So it was good.
What led you to think that it was kind of too much about winning and not about like the progression and gratitude of it?
The way that I felt competing, I was super like anxious and thinking too forward thinking. Like I got to do this, I got to do this, and just I wasn't having fun. It really comes down to that. Like it's simple. I know when I feel my best, thinking about making mistakes, having fun. That year I was just so uptight, like I can't make any mistakes. This is a job. Keep my head down, and so like I was like, why was I thinking that way? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just knew that going forward, I didn't want to compete that way. Whatever the result was, I didn't want to compete, not having fun, not enjoying the sport.
Was there a point after that where you thought maybe you weren't going to wrestle anymore in the freestyle scene?
Yeah, I thought in my mind, truthfully, I wanted to win Olympic gold in 2021 and then probably retire. So, I guess blessing in disguise, I'm still competing. So it
Dude,
was, yeah,
you're just getting started, man. Like, dude, you're we got it's such a crazy time with 2024 because everyone was in 21, went to 24 because it was only 3 years. But now I'm thinking 2028 to LA, that's gonna have a pull for a lot of guys, kind of like Atlanta in 96. So it's like, it's interesting to see what's gonna happen. Do you think when you're retired from wrestling, will you be a coach or will you get out of wrestling entirely?
think I'll get out of wrestling probably for a little bit. I don't want to say entirely because it's always going to be a part of my life, whether I'm doing something and then get pulled into a club, helping at a club or high school. I think that would be a lot of fun. But I don't think running my own club or coaching at the college level. I studied finance in undergrad. I've been getting my MBA, almost done with that, and so
Nice.
I've always had a passion for business and finance, and so I want to explore that a little bit after wrestling.
Yeah, that's cool. Business is a lot of fun. It's an athlete going in business is such an advantage because the mindset. And when I think about business with you, I think not only about kind of life after wrestling, but some of the partnerships you have now. Rudis, an amazing brand. How did that partnership get started, and what's that been like?
Yeah, it got started. I was with Scrap Life for a couple years. Obviously, that didn't work out, and then I had a partnership with a smaller company for about a year. They got ended up getting bought out by Spartan Combat, so I was kind of at a position where I didn't have a sponsorship anymore, and was just like, Rudis is. I've always admired them from afar. Like I love their gear, what they did for Kyle Snyder, and
Oh yeah.
yeah. So I just reached out, and at the time they were wanting to do like a super match, so I got on that card before I was even an athlete of theirs, and just agreed to do the super match. And then when I went to their headquarters to kind of like take a photo shoot and stuff for the to promote the super match, they were reached out and were like, "Hey, we'd like to maybe sign you as an athlete," and kind of form that partnership. And it was a no-brainer from there because I was a free agent, and they're, in my opinion, the best apparel company in wrestling. So I would just, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, you go to that factory and it's like you get so excited with all the wrestling merch around. It's absolutely insane when you walk through that back kind of warehouse area.
You've been there?
Yeah, I've been there a long time ago. Yeah, it was like probably 3 years ago. I went out there and I did an interview with Tom Ryan as well. But you go there and they just make you feel like they roll out the red carpet to anyone, and the podcast was pretty small at the time, but just their lobby with all the Colat stuff and then the actual warehouse with all the merch. It's like, wow, it's cool.
Yeah, it's their love for wrestling. Yeah, you can tell for sure.
I literally was like, I'm in tech sales and I love it, but I was like so impressed by it. I was like, man, I might just move to Ohio and become a sales rep for Rudis. Like it was
I
like that. It's like the energy. You're just working on wrestlers all day. Like who would not want to do that?
It's cool.
Yeah. So you've been in that super match. Was that the one in before the Nationals in Detroit?
That was the one. Yeah,
Who'd
right
you
in
wrestle
March.
in that? James?
James Green.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So, which makes me think. So, coming up to, the Olympic trials are coming up here. I don't know if you've made your decision and you don't have to answer, but I'm just curious. Have you leaned one way or the other if you're going up or down?
I've been giving myself some time to figure that out. I think I want to make a full decision next month, and
Okay.
then kind of not the goal. My thought is like I don't want to like go back and think about like, oh, I wish I get a month in and then change my mind and start going the
Sure.
other way class. So when I make that decision, I want to be 100% on it.
For sure. For sure. Well, it's exciting to see, man. And either way, it's uh it's just gonna be an exciting Olympic trials. I mean, for a wrestling fan, you got Big Tens, you got NCAAs, you got Olympic trials, you got the Olympics, all within now like a 10-month window. It's gonna be awesome. Are there any new guys coming into Penn State, like freshmen, that you're really looking forward to watching this year that we should be checking out?
Um, I've just been working out with Mitch Messenbrink. He's a stud, and so I'm excited to watch him compete in a Penn State singlet at some point. And yeah, that's the main younger guy that I've been wrestling with.
Yeah, he's got a fun personality, man. What kind of feel does he bring?
Unique. Yeah, he's lanky. He makes really good adjustments too, which is something that not everyone does. And just competes hard, always looking to get better, always asking good questions. So yeah, I think he's just a sponge and is going to get better super fast.
Can you tell he's got that Ben Askren training, like the way he's like
Oh yeah,
defending? Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
yeah,
You can tell he's had good coaching.
he's a beast, man. You got him, you got Levi Haynes. I know there's a couple other studs coming in who haven't even wrestled for Penn State. I can't think of their names, but it's gonna be fun, man. And just knowing that you guys are all part of that ecosystem, I can only imagine the excitement you feel. Let's sign off with this though, man. I mean, as you look ahead, kind of give us your thoughts on the next time we're going to see you on the mat, and is it the Olympic trials or will we see you before then?
Yeah, I won't compete until the Olympic trials. So kind of taking advantage of that and just training and finishing school up and all that stuff.
Awesome, man. Well, that's going to be Bryce Jordan Center, and that's where it was supposed to be back in 2020, right?
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I remember when they canceled it, and they canceled the NCAA's, and like I was talking to my brother like the day after. I'm like, dude, they might still do the Olympic trials, and I was just holding out hope. And obviously, that was insane to think because everything got canceled. But yeah, it'll be. I already got my hotel. I've never been to State College, so I can't wait for it.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah,
State College
absolutely,
is a
man.
fun place. Yep.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Zain. It's always a pleasure to have you on the podcast. You're welcome anytime. And we just want to say congratulations on an amazing World Championships. It's an honor to watch you compete. And thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Yep, you too.